Hey, welcome back for another special edition of the Manny Hall Show. This is a show where I not only interview entrepreneurs, but influencers, people that are making an impact within their community, people that are on Instagram just killing the game, not necessarily from a follower standpoint or any of that, but like they're literally making an impact. And tonight's guest is going to be absolutely amazing. Y'all going to love it. All right, let me get you in here. Get you in here. Alrighty, alrighty. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I appreciate
Yes, I had to make sure I was connected on time.
it. Not a problem. So, could you tell the people who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I can change that right there. Yes. Hey, everybody. Coming to you live from Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised. My name is Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, and home I help home care entrepreneurs get started or grow or scale their business. Why? Because I got started in 2006 and somebody helped me, so I believe that you need some help too. How about
Uh,
that?
Absolutely. Now, going back in 2006, like
Mhm.
it was crazy different. It wasn't on this all this Instagram stuff and people acting like they know what they're doing and they can help in this space, right? So, talk about like how things transition for you and what pivots you might have had to take with the influx of social media coming into play.
Yeah, good point. So, my background is in international business with a focus on marketing. So, I always had a heavy uh, love for marketing. So, I had to be super creative, being that home care or healthcare, I knew nothing about it. I was never a nurse or a CNA. I never even was a family caregiver. So,
Oh wow, wow, wow.
yeah, so a lot of times I run into people, they're nurses and they want to do it because they want to make more money than their agency that is they're working for. Nurses being registered nurse or LPN, or
Yep.
they're or a CNA, a certified nursing assistant, or a family caregiver. This is a high amount of people. They want to do it because they had a loved one that needed care and the agencies out there, they were crappy, right? So everybody takes that ball of experience and they're like, well, I want to do it. I can do it better. But I actually learned from someone who just so happened to be a registered nurse, and she taught me the behind the scenes. Because back in the '80s, she had a million dollar, over a seven figure business. So the only way for you to learn that kind of blueprint, like you can learn six figure steps from six figure people, you can learn seven figure steps from seven figure people.
Thanks.
So what was different? I mean, also because we're in a post-COVID world, is that it's a lot more personalization. You go meet with people, and that's pretty much how the home care market is. It's a personal face-to-face kind of experience. So when you tell people, a couple of years ago, I got on Instagram before other agencies were on Instagram, and they were like, people aren't on Instagram.
Mm.
Well, I totally subscribe to the blue ocean, red ocean,
Yeah,
method.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I love that book, by the way. That's one of the books that's really allowed me to niche down much more. So, Blue Ocean Strategy, love it, love it, love it,
yeah,
love
so if you guys ever heard of it, I think Mandy's gonna put that in his link tree or something, right? Because you
it.
guys get it. Because so from that, basically in short, that's telling you guys that you should go into places where you're not likely to be found, right?
Mm.
And as a shark, meaning you are the predominant business or brand, you have to search out your population. You have to search
Yeah,
out your food, right? Your food
yeah.
source. So I got on Instagram, I got on Facebook, I got on Pinterest, and I
Mm.
got on YouTube. And so we'll go through that, but it's a lot different now because of how people are getting clients. Like I said, traditionally, you use traditional marketing. You use your brochures, you use your business cards. But now everybody is on their phone all the time. And, you don't want to miss out on communicating with your potential client because you're not there. And a lot of people, they don't want to do the work with, being on social media and staying consistent because they feel like, oh, well, my people aren't there, but they are. They're there every day. They're logging into their Instagram. They're logging into TikTok. They're logging into Facebook. And you're missing out because they're not seeing your stuff. Did I answer your
No,
question?
yeah, you absolutely did, and it kind of made me think about another question. Like, since you have this marketing background, um, and like speak to these individuals that might be like late 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're really using these antiquated tactics
Mm-hmm.
to bring new business in, and not realizing, like you're making this point about social media and other avenues. It's like, why do you think we get so stuck?
Okay, yeah. So you're using antiquated tactics. So you have to ask yourself, why am I ordering business cards? Am I going to a network meeting?
Mm, mm,
Why am I giving out my business card to this person? What am I do? Am I just doing it because that's what I think the
mm.
business is? I laugh at people, not not to be insulting, but I laugh at, why do people put LLC in their website? I'm like, why do you do that? Like, sometimes people do things
Yeah.
because I feel like they want people to know, hey, I'm a real business. But guess what? You don't have to validate yourself like that.
No.
So if you were in your 30s and 40s, hey, I am in your same age group. I was born 1979, and I grew up in the 80s. I love 90s music, went to college in my late.
You know what? Let's just stop for a minute. Tell me one of your favorite '90s hits.
Oh man, too many. um, what was it? I think high school. Everybody was doing mint condition, pretty brown eyes, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you went to the mirror and you made sure, my eyes. Oh, my eyes are dark brown, so I think I qualified. My first year in college was when All About the Benjamins came out. So
Okay.
that's all you heard
Yeah,
every time I
yeah.
went to my dorm. And so I came up with those beats, and it's like, now that they're becoming reels, this is like, okay, that just bringing back
Right,
memories, right?
right, right.
But even that, guys, is a form of branding, right? Because when Puffy did that, he was branding, like, if you want to be like us, like, you need to have, you need to drive these certain kind of cars. You need to look like Little Kim. And so how do you translate that to your existing marketing? You got to have a concept. So I speak from home care, but I've also helped people in the film industry, real estate people, and as well as yourself, Manny. You're a branding expert, and so it's if I can school you a little bit, it's really, you got to have like a base of what you want people to perceive from your company.
Sure.
So from home care, everybody wants um, you to think, well, we provide the best care, and that's really good. But dig a little bit deeper. What else are they experiencing that you can kind of like separate yourself? Like, again, that goes back to that blue ocean,
Yeah,
red ocean thing. What can you separate yourself
yeah.
with? And that's why if you if you're looking at other people's if you're doing OPP, you're looking at other people's posts, as an entrepreneur, you will just duplicate what they're doing and you won't step out of the box. And that's whether you're in real estate, you say, oh, okay, well, they're posting pictures every time somebody sells a home. So I'm going to post a picture every time somebody sells a home. If you are a resume writer, you're going to do everything you see somebody else do because you feel like that's what that's what gets the likes, right? So you don't want to focus on likes. You want to focus on building your brand.
Yeah.
And that's what people are going to gravitate to. And then that's where you're going to have, okay, this is this company and they're really authentic and this is what they're about. And so you want to create your own message, your own, I had a side thought because I said this to one of my clients. I said, when Target came up with the name Target, did they know that they were going to be selling clothes, selling food, selling electronics? Because the name doesn't match what products you get from Target, or some people call them Target, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on where you are. So from that perspective, they probably had a really good marketing person, and they said, well, now when people go into Target, they're not thinking, oh, I got to match the word to the experience or to the product. They just said, I'm picking a name and I'm going to build everything else around that name. So that's what I want you guys to do. You decide on your name, your brand, and you build everything else around that. And sometimes that takes it does take some work.
Yeah.
It's not something that's going to happen overnight. I'm sure it took some time for people to connect. Oh, this is where I go get everything I need in my house.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But and to that same point, I've actually been using Target and Walmart as an example with my clients to say you're
Okay.
not Target and you're not Walmart. In
Yep.
the sense that you can't provide a product for every single person. So
Mm-hmm.
realizing it's like, this is what I specialize in, this is a product offer. Like you in your space, you're not saying, hey, yeah, I do this, but you can also come get your credit fixed. I'll mow your lawn. I'll do your weave for you. I'll fix your eyebrows. Because then we create all this confusion with our brand. And
Mm-hmm.
people can't really know where to come to you for. Like it's a huge difference between like a doctor, regular doctor that you would see versus that specialist that works on the knees, works on backs, works on ankles and feet. And when I go to them, sis, I know that I'm about to get some help because they specialize in this. They study it. They stay in that vein for so long that you like, all right, I trust you way more than somebody that is covering all of these areas.
Right. So Mandy's making a really good point. Like if if I someone who has options, meaning they have money and they need to have a heart surgery, they're going to look out the best. They're going to look out the top. They're
Yeah.
not going to just go with whoever their insurance pays for because, hey, they're like, hey, I'm not going to even use my insurance. I'm going to pay for this out of pocket. So what Manny is saying is that there's riches and niches. So
Mm-hmm.
even but one of the things I feel like when you see people doing multiple things, I feel like they haven't figured out what they're good at. Because they're I I use this word kindly. They prostituting themselves to different coaches. So this coach says you can make $10,000 a month doing Airbnb. But this coach says you can make $5,000 a month doing credit repair. And this
Yeah.
coach said, yeah. So you have to decide what you really want to do. And I subscribe to, you don't have to love what you do. There's people that say, oh, you should love what you do. You should love what you do. Guess what? I did not love healthcare. I did not love home care. I did it because by divine intervention, God, put me together with a business mentor who told me, I'm going to help you start your first business. Now, I feel like that was divine intervention because there are some skills that you probably learn from past jobs. And I love how Tyler Perry said he worked as a debt collector once, right? And that helped him to negotiate some of his deals when he did theater. So he was talking about how some of his past experiences, past work experiences, it helped him out with what he's doing now. So I do believe those little things. I don't care if you worked at Dollar Tree and you learn how to organize a shelf. That's
Yeah.
going to help you with what you're ultimately, purpose to do.
Yeah.
But hone into that you may not love it at first.
Yeah.
You may
Yeah,
not
no,
love it.
talk about that experience because like you're getting started. What made you really have that strong desire to get in right from the beginning? Was it about the money, the opportunities, what you saw somebody else potentially doing? Like what was it that was like I'm gonna give this a try even though I might not like it all that much?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I was literally stuck. And like I said, I graduated from American University here in Washington, D.C., and I got this really great corporate job. And then I was transitioning to a different part of finance. I work with stockbrokers, right? So I was going to be doing merchant banking. And for one reason or another, I lost that job
Mm.
and I was really depressed. And so I was sitting in church and I was like trying to figure out what I was going to do. And, then during church, because I have to say that, I'm a faith-based entrepreneur, the minister at the time, he was like, God wants you to start a business. And I was like, on the second row, like thinking like, okay, I'm too young because at the time I was 26. So I'm like, people that I know to start businesses, they're older. So I didn't have a lot of examples back in 2006 of young people starting businesses. Everybody that had businesses were older, they were mature. So I kind of thought like, you know, thanks, sir. But,
Yeah.
and then within 6 months that happened. So I really didn't have to, like, so people ask me, I didn't have to quit my job because I was not working. And when Damon John says the power of broke, yes, I worked 2 part-time jobs while I was starting my business.
Gotcha.
So after I left those part-time jobs, I have since 2006, or actually 2007, when I left a part-time job, never worked for somebody else after that. So I
Wow.
went to full-time entrepreneurship because I had to.
Mm.
Sometimes I may tell somebody, well, keep your job because you got benefits. Thankfully I was on my own. I didn't have, a husband and children, because that decision is a lot better. But I knew her business was really successful, but at the time that did not lure me in because we didn't have like social media saying, oh yeah, you can go from broke to woke. We didn't
Yeah.
have that. So that kind of I didn't have that kind
You still there?
of coming in. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
on airplane mode. So what lured me was basically that I had no other options.
Mm.
I had no other options, and I might as well give it a try.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's what lured me. And then with when I got started within 6 months, I said, "Oh, well, maybe this is something. Maybe
Yeah.
this is something."
Yeah.
I kept pushing through, even though I wasn't making a lot of money initially, guys.
Mm.
So it wasn't like I had like a great month. I didn't really start making money to maybe like 14 months in. So just
Mm.
imagine being committed that long, and if you think it's like an overnight success type of thing, it's not. You have to put in the work.
Yeah. You know what? And I want to ask you a question in regards to like our community as a whole, because it seems like most of us do not want to put the work in. We do not want to wait. We do not want delayed gratification. We's like, I started this business. This thing should blow up in 3 months. And it's like, ideally, most of us were at a full-time job and we got 2 raises in 3 years.
Yeah, at
We
whatever
weren't tripping at
percent.
all.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
So with that, if you're transitioning from full-time employment to full-time entrepreneurship, you need to set realistic expectations. Um, like how much money you're making and how much are your bills.
Yeah.
And you have to keep yourself motivated to, and that it also goes back to, do you really want to do this, or did somebody just pump you up to say, yeah, you can make this much money? Because not every, I have a friend, he did Toro, and he had a bad experience, and he's been successful in home care, he's been successful in real estate, but he was like, yo, I had a bad experience with Turo. So you can't, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, and you have to do your due diligence, meaning, learn a little bit more about the industry that you're getting into. What does that look like in your area, and what does that look like for you? And then you have to make a personal commitment. Okay, I'm going to give this 6 months, I'm going to give this 12 months, and I'm going to spend this much time doing it every week. And so if you do that, all that, and you really do spend, let's say, 2 hours a week at the minimum, and that could be reading, or that could be, working on something a week, then I feel like you can qualify for saying you gave it your all. But if you're just like, you took a class, you didn't even finish the course, and you spent your money, and you're complaining about, that you didn't get any results, then shame on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and to that point, I think the research says something between like 7 to 8% of the people that actually buy like digital products and courses and stuff actually use the information. So now we're thinking about entrepreneurs, business owners, like, hey, that looked fun. I'm gonna try that. And then we don't get a coach. Nobody's really helping us hold our hand through the process, and we're really expecting it. If I watch enough YouTube videos, I'm gonna do exactly what they did and I'm gonna be successful. But it's just like, we all have to realize that you can be successful in something. But going back to your point about the research, why not do the research way before you even decide to start marketing? Way before you even let the world know that this is what you do. Like, find out more about that information, see how things are working, study the market, study the audience that you want to serve, identify the audience that you want to serve. Because I can almost guarantee the people that you know that you're serving, you keep talking to them all the time. I'm looking at your posts. I'm
Yeah.
like, she know who she's talking to.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Well, I will be honest with you. At first, I wasn't talking. I was talking to all entrepreneurs, because people know that I've been in business. I would get people from my women's group, people from church, people, in general. Oh, you seem like you know what you're doing. Can you help me start a business? And
Gotcha.
so I had to teach my own self a lesson. And then my mentor also helped me that, hey, you're not here to serve everybody. So your point of, so when I was serving everybody, it was more exhausting, because I had to maybe do a little bit more research. Like, I know business, it has like a basic foundation
Mm-hmm.
that anybody that's been in business can follow and help you. But then when you go specifically to your area, then I may need a little bit more information
Yeah.
to help you out.
Yeah.
So with with that being said, like, people want, like you said, instant gratification, and they're not willing to do the work, and they're not willing to read. I had, unfortunately, I had one person that I fully refunded her money. And I told her that my mentorship program was not ideal for her, because all she did was complain. She said, oh, before, joining your program, nobody helps me. I couldn't find this. I couldn't find that. I jumped on the internet, and I looked up one thing that she said she couldn't get anybody to help her with. And I got the answer like that. So I'm thinking, like, well, what have you been doing if I can jump on right now? Now, like, I have the advantage, Manny has the advantage of knowing what kind of questions to ask, where to go to get certain information, so it can come to me like this, but, I was like, well, let me see, let me just pull something up. And fast forward, I got it for her, and she was just like, yeah, well, thanks, because nobody's helped me. So if you're also wanting somebody to do, a coach is not going to do everything for you, and
Right.
neither is a mentor. There is you have to match my your ambition needs to match my ambition. My Manny's people's ambition needs to match his. And when you do, he's going to bring it. Like if you're emailing him, if you're messaging him, you're like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Oh yeah, okay. I think you can do this, and you can do it this way. This is how you bring out the best of your coach or your mentor, by actually showing up, doing the work, not treating your coaching session like a therapy session. Because, yes, we do care about what's going on. We have a family. We care if you're sick. We care if you got stuff going on. But at the end of the day, Mandy can tell you, I was at the dentist earlier today. I found out I had an abscess, or the abscess on a tooth that I had a root canal on. I'm like, how the heck did that happen? Fast forward, I was in a lot of pain. We were supposed to do this call. We were supposed to do this IG earlier, but I know I have to be a woman of my word. I got to show up, right? So I'm going to be proactive, right? So that's what you have to do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. I know people that they did work while they were in the hospital, while they were in camp. So if you're not willing to sacrifice that, if you feel like, well, I'm a boss, I shouldn't have to do that, then you're sadly mistaken, because you're going to be working on some vacations. You're going to be you're going to be working some late nights. You're going to have some highs, and they're going to be really, really highs, and you're going to have some lows. And I don't want to say they're going to be really low, but you're going to experience business. But guess what? You're going to be totally satisfied, because if you're doing what you're called to do.
Yeah. And it's a different feeling that you get when you know you operate in your oil.
Yeah.
Like, I had transitioned to being a full-time entrepreneur. It was like the world started looking different for me. It's just like I just start seeing things like totally different, and like using emotional intelligence the right way, and talking to people like they're real people.
Oh yeah.
Not like just, oh, they're another number. I'm trying to get another follow. I'm trying to get another sale. And, let me just say this for the people out there that's thinking, I need to get more followers. I'm looking at these two great individuals on this live. I need to get followers like them. No, you don't. You
Yeah.
can literally have 500 people that are following you, 200 people, 50 people.
Mm.
What if you really spend some time nurturing, building relationship, cultivating these relationships with the individuals that's already rocking with you?
Right.
Like, instead of trying to get all these more people, like Instagram did this case study, and they said that the majority of people with all of these followers, even they cannot find time to communicate with all of them.
Right.
So
That's
it's actually much better if you got a smaller audience, because you can talk to them more.
yeah.
So come on, y'all. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's
Yeah,
get.
that perception that, we want more followers, we want more likes and stuff like that. And especially Instagram, Facebook, you don't feel as much pressure with that.
Yeah.
You also don't feel as much pressure like on a TikTok with that. But Instagram has always been how many likes, how many followers, and that seems to give people social proof. But
Yeah.
post anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? For me, I think it's more of a distraction than anything else. And I think this is probably why they wanted to take that function away, where you
Mhm.
saw how many likes and views somebody had. Because what if you just got back to the season of focusing on your creativity? The oil that you know that you operate in really, really well. What if you finally got out of your way and said, I'm going to do these live videos, I'm going to do these reels, I'm going to put the content out there. I know maybe the whole world might not love it, but that's okay.
Mm.
Everybody don't love cheesecake. Everybody don't love apple pie. There are some individuals like, nah, I'm cool on that. Give me something else. Give me some banana pudding. Give me something else. We
Right.
all have our own taste and flavors for a reason, y'all. But it's like, if you never put yourself out there, nobody will ever have the opportunity to see how amazing you are. And then you only waited 3 months before you jumped into another business. So then you put in your bio, unfortunately, that you're a serial entrepreneur. Meaning that you do everything, but what do you do well? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's good. What do you do well?
All
What do
right, sis. Tell them about way, way, way before you even decided to be a business owner and you were working this 9 to 5, like, what was going through your head? Because I really want them to kind of know this story, because a lot of them are right there still working full-time jobs. They know they got to go to work tomorrow. They miserable. They looking forward to the weekend so they can celebrate, and then they got to go back to this jail proverbially. Like, what was it like when you were still this full-time worker going to somebody else's job before you made that switch?
Okay, that's a good question. I think there is a component. I don't want to say small or large, that
Okay.
the kind of worker you are is also the kind of maybe business owner that you can be. So I was a high performer. I was naturally like a high performer. I went in there. I was a quick learner. I excelled in my job. I always got leadership positions. So I never looked at that before until one of my mentors told me that's a pattern. Right.
Mm.
And so, it's naturally for me to be in leadership positions. So then now I'm leading a company, right? So, but going back to high performer, like, I stayed late. I went above and beyond. If you are at your 9 to 5 and you're like, I can't wait, I didn't want to be here and I can't wait to leave. If you're at your job and you're constantly complaining, you're looking up other jobs,
Why you
know,
at that job?
at that job. I mean, you know, that's that's a that's number one. It's a telltale sign that you're very unhappy. And then, would you want somebody to do that to you if they were running your business? And so my mindset was, because I actually had a situation. I was working with some stockbrokers, and one of my bosses was really difficult. She was really difficult, but she was a top sales. It was only two women, and she was a top sales person, and she was like a senior vice president. So what I did was, and took initiative, and I said, "Can you teach me how to manage some of your smaller accounts?" And her smaller accounts was like anything 100,000 and under, because like I said, she had large $1 million accounts. So she said, okay, this is how you do it. And I don't know what made me ask her that, but it really taught me a lot, and it kind of added to my marketing. Then she gave me little responsibilities. Okay. And it ultimately helped me with doing some of my marketing for home care, because she taught me how to reach out to seniors, and she taught me how to reach out to people with high net worth.
Mm,
So
mm.
so that's why I said I was getting some on the job training, not knowing that I would eventually, own my own business. But you have to be, if you are trying to make your exit plan to start your business, just be of the mindset of, what can I take away from here so that I can use in my business, whether it's going to be training somebody that works underneath you, or, what, I love that my supervisor or my boss does this. I don't like this. So I'm not going to magnify it by speaking on
Yeah,
it, but
yeah,
I'm going to just make sure that I have things in place so that, my staff feel appreciated or something like that. So
yeah,
that's how you do it. You don't, because everybody that talked negatively, I end up staying away from them. I'm like, well, we're still here. So
yeah.
talk to me when you're not here and you're doing better. As far as I know, this is what's paying your bills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And y'all, this is a really fresh perspective, because I seldom hear people helping people do better at their job. Everybody's trying to push people off the ledge and say, "Hey, quit your job, do this full-time entrepreneurship." No, y'all need to get better at the job that you have. Maybe it's time for you to get a different position. Maybe you should be getting a raise. Like, one of the things that I did when I was still at my job, I used a lot of the money I was making to
mhm.
help fund my business, to
Yeah.
buy software, to get memberships, to get coaching, because I had a job, I had some stability.
Hmm.
Same thing. What she's saying to y'all, y'all got to take notice of this stuff. Like, be very strategic. If you've never read 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, you're missing out.
Hmm.
Definitely tap into that book, because while you're still at that job, you need to be much more strategic. You need to be controlling your emotions. And I know it gets hard,
Yeah.
especially sometimes for our color, y'all. Sometimes they be mean and racist and rude and nasty and telling jokes that you don't get and understand and you feeling stupid. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand that while you're still there, you have to take care of your family. So bust a move when it's time, but while you're still there, be strategic. Be very smart and wise in the way that you move and operate. Don't allow these people to piss you off. And now you've had to you got to have a bad day for 8 or 9 hours while being at work.
That's right.
And you have to keep doing that 5 days a week that you know that you're miserable. They're sucking the life out of you. Instead of you deciding to leave, why don't you control yourself?
Yeah. Because what if you have a bad client? What are you going to do?
Facts. And that happens, don't it?
It does. Yeah.
It definitely happens.
Yeah. So that's like, yeah, I have yet to push anybody to quit their job. That's a personal decision. You have to,
Yeah.
you know, that's why you need to look at the numbers. What's your bills look like, and if you're married, who's going to cover what. If you got
Yeah.
kids, what does that look like for your personal time, your family time. But a lot of people, guess what you do. Come the holiday season, you pick up a part-time job. You need to pick up your part-time business. You need to work that 6 to 10 for your business. That's why I say, if you're not at least spending 2 hours on your business, what are you doing? You're getting distracted by TV. They're going to have a new movie out every week.
It's always gonna be something new. Always.
Mm-hmm. Always going to be something new. So, you know, uh, I've posted it on my Instagram page, and I've seen it before. But sleep is for billionaires, right? So if you sleeping, what have you reached the level of comfortability get? So I think maybe you're sleeping too much.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you need to lose a little bit more sleep just so you can get some things accomplished.
Yeah. That's a good point. Talk to them about like systems, habits, routines that you've taken on throughout the last few years that have helped you get to this place you're at now.
Well, you need to have a good support system, because as an entrepreneur, you can get very discouraged, like you were talking about, wanting to quit, and you can't talk to people who don't have a job, who don't have a business, about some of those things, because they only know to tell you, yeah, well, you know what, they'll take you back. They'll take you back, and so sometimes that might be a good decision, and sometimes that may not. I can't, again, that's a personal decision. So you need a good support group. You need somebody that you can vent to, but it's also going to check you. And that's what a business coach or a mentor does. They when you're venting, uh, you know I want to go back to say, that coaching or mentorship sessions aren't venting sessions, but I hear a lot, and I sit there and I listen. But just be prepared for me saying, well, how come you didn't complete this goal? It's been 2 months.
Mm.
So be prepared for the response that you need, because our job is to put fire under your feet, because we've been there before. So I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you to do something that I wasn't forced to do, or I didn't have to adjust to when I got started. Again, I said I had two part-time jobs. I didn't have as much of a life because I had to work on my business,
Yeah.
and my jobs needed to pay for my either my business expenses or my living expenses. So I wasn't going out that much. I did have a life. I didn't really have a life, but I went out, sporadically. So if you want to be like, well, I gotta enjoy myself. I gotta live. I disagree with that. Uh, I don't mean to quote Kanye, but he talked about, he locked himself up for 2 summers working
Mm-hmm.
on beats.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine where he was before first album, and then now where he is.
Yeah.
So he locked himself up for 2 summers. He said, I'm not going out.
Because I got stuff to do.
I got stuff to do. And so that support system, the habits are not letting yourself make too many excuses. Are you going to need to take take a break, rest? Yes. But like have somebody that's going to keep you accountable. Is that somebody in your support system? That could be a family member, that could be another business person, that could be a mentor, a coach that's going to say, okay, yeah, this weekend, take some time off, refresh, and then we'll regroup on Tuesday or something like that. So you do need periods where you need to refresh your mind, because you can get a little burnt out.
For sure.
And that's part of your, you wanting to quit, because you get to a point where, you just like, you hit the ceiling and you don't know what to do. Now, if you're doing it on your own, that's even worse, because you don't have anybody that can say, oh, but you're right there. And so if you're down here, you don't have anybody up here saying, but you're right there. All you got to do is just push one more time and you're at the next level, right? So again, that support system, your habits should be holding yourself accountable and setting monthly goals. Don't try to set too many goals. Don't try to add too many things to your list. Don't try to overwhelm yourself because you want that money quick, fast, in a hurry, because they said you'll be making $5,000 by your third month. Just let's be realistic. How much are you putting into it versus how much you expect to get out of it?
That's good.
Yeah. And then lastly, like I said, I have to say it because of I'm a faith-based business mentor. You got to pray, because like God's given me so many ideas that like I couldn't get from a course. I couldn't get from listening to somebody. And sometimes the ideas was call them at 8:30 versus call them at 9:30. And it was like something really simple, right? Like, why? Well, I didn't know that they get in early.
All right.
And they'll answer their phone.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes that can come from, your prayer time. Sometimes that can come from your relationship when you're networking. I did a lot of networking when I first got started. And so people would give me the inside story. Oh, have you spoken to Susan? She's over that. Oh, okay. What's up, Susan? I'm not going to treat this like, how when we used to date back in the day. Oh, I'm gonna call them next week. No, I'm calling you tonight. I'm calling you today. So you can't play no games. And
No.
and they know this is about business. So you don't have to feel like, well, what if they're gonna reject me? It's not personal. They're not rejecting you. This is about business. And once you put that on, you should be okay. You should feel a lot better about what you're doing. It's about business. It's not personal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I probably have a couple other, but I'll settle with those.
Those are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell us that like morning routine,
Oh,
like
my
how.
morning routine. My morning routine is I have to like my morning routine back then is a lot different from now, because I have a husband and children, so I have to get up really early. I get up like 5:15, and I spend a certain amount of time in prayer, doing my affirmations, and I write down ideas that I might have. The ideas could be for business, for my business. Ideas could be for one of my mentees' businesses. The ideas could be for content I want to share. Like I may have it, like, what, when I was back when I was doing business, nobody told me this, so I'm going to share that. And because I try to share realistic things, I try to be that business mentor that shows you both sides of the story. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, yeah, there's times where I'm going to Neiman Marcus, but there was a time where I was shopping at TJ Maxx, or maybe I'm still going to TJ Maxx, or maybe I'm still going to Home Goods. Like, it has to be real to me, because this, that's what Instagram won't do a lot of times. They won't show you the low lights, right?
Yeah.
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 So that's pretty much my morning routine, and then I get up at 7. And then I have to get my kids ready at 7. So when I first got started, my routine was very similar, minus the kids, and that's why I kind of got back to doing more prayer and affirmations, because my business mentor, she was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and she needed me to help take her to morning prayer. So I was tired, but I got up and I took her. And during that time, that's when I was get those ideas. Like I said, okay, like there was a change in my licensing of how I was supposed to get my home care business license. And during that time, God was just like, send it in the old way. And I got my license faster than everybody else. Everybody else got a provisional license. I got my full license. So that's just my time of quietness, meditating, praying, and I don't do any other working out. I know I kind of push that towards later in the day, but pretty much my prayer, my affirmations, and writing down ideas, because your brain shouldn't be used for storage. It should be used for creating. So I write it down. I got tons of journals, because I don't have time to type stuff out. So I write it down, and sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's not. And I got, I was looking at something Sarah Blakely did. She's one of my, I'm inspired by her story, and she shows all of the journals and notebooks that she used when she first got started. So you're in good company if you have a whole bunch of journals and you write the stuff down, because a billionaire did it too.
Facts. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, look, thank you so much for taking the time to join tonight. Can you say any last words and then tell people how they can get in contact with you, whatever programs or offers you got going on right now?
Yeah, so my last words to you, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, meaning you haven't jumped all the way in yet, is to just know that there's no perfect time.
Mm.
There's no perfect time. There's no perfect situation. You know, unfortunately, there's not a lot of banks that's going to give you the capital before they're not going to invest in you before you invest in yourself. So consider all the options of you just starting with the money you have in your savings, or, just like me and Manny did, working while we're building our business. So just get over that and then move forward. Make your first step.
Mm.
Make your first step. So that's what my inspiring. If you're in, if you're considered an emerging entrepreneur, business owner, and you're struggling, then look at what you have been doing for the past like 12, 18 months. You've been in business that long, and ask yourself, did I pivot when everybody else pivoted?
Mm.
Really make a change, or did I stay the same, just expecting it to get better? Because we all know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So if you haven't made that change, then you need to have like a weekend to yourself and write down what you need to. I call it my stop, um, my start, stop, and continue list. What
Mm.
am I going to start doing? Might be I'm going to start waking up early. What am I going to stop doing? I'm going to stop going after the wrong clients. What am I going to continue doing? You're going to continue doing what's working. Start, stop, continue. Let's do that, and then stop investing your time and money energy and getting frustrated on things that's not working, and then get a business mentor that can help you go to the next level. I just so happen to help entrepreneurs who want to start a home care agency. Have I helped plenty of other entrepreneurs? Yes. But in this season, that's my focus. So if you know someone who has a home care agency or wants to start one, send them my way. I'm at Savvy Business Chick on all platforms, on TikTok, on Facebook, on here on Instagram, and on YouTube. I have plenty of free content. You can check me out, see what I'm talking about, or you can just follow me for business inspiration.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We're going to have to do this again soon.
Sure.
And I love the insight that you gave us tonight and all the gems that you dropped. So make sure that you guys are following her and tap into everything that she's doing. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You can watch the replay. Peace and blessings. Y'all have an amazing night.
All right, bye. Thank